Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 90% podcast. I'm Nick Iula,
I'm Mike Iula.
and this is technically episode 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get started then. This episode, I think we're just going to talk mainly to each other because our setup's a little odd. We're not going to be looking directly at our audience, but I think we just have a lot of questions we're going to go over today. We'll start with, the base one so people can get to know us better. We kind of explained it in our first little, what is it, like a prototype episode?
Mm-hmm.
We're identical twins, and we thought it'd be kind of interesting if we just shared some of the similarities and differences between us. And I guess we can start with the base question that everybody asks us every single day. Hey, are you guys twins? And it's like, yeah. And to answer that question beyond, are you guys twins? It's always well, what is it like being a twin, right? And I guess my question to you is, what is it like not being a twin?
Yeah. So basically every day,
You know?
we run into somebody that, when we're together, that asks, "Are you guys brothers? Are you related? Are you twins?" And obviously, most of the time, unless we feel like ribbing them, we're gonna tell them that we are. But for the most part, like, it's kind of been all we know. You know what I mean? Like, we only get one life, as far as we're concerned. We think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah. So we just enjoy kind of like everything that comes with being a twin, and we're kind of dive deeper into that aspect, and we hope that you guys listening enjoy. So
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you the question that you get asked every day. What's it like being a twin, Mike?
wow. Honestly, like I was just saying, I don't know any different, but I think it's kind of a special bond, because realistically, I've had a best friend that's been my same age, been interested in the same things, exposed to the same uh, things growing up, and we both just know basically up to this point the same thing. So it's almost like having somebody that you can relate to on a crazy level. Like we just enjoy literally movies, music, TV, literally anything. And like that's what's so cool is like we're able to share the information with each other and just kind of work off one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think for people who have siblings, you probably argue with them a lot because there's that age, difference. And for us, we don't have any other siblings. We do have stepbrothers. Shout out Justin and Josh. Anyway, but they only lived with us part time for a little while when we were younger, and they're awesome to hang out with, and they're around our age as well. But most of the time it was just Mike and I spending time together growing up, right? So it's a funny thing because now that we're both older, it's like, we're in our 20s now, and it's like we're still best friends. And I feel really fortunate to be in this position, probably because I think a lot of siblings, because they're, a different in age between leaving school and their town and going away to college or whatever, they find themselves, having that space, and there isn't a lot of privacy between us, and I guess it has its pros and cons, right? Because we're always around each other, and we're pretty much exposed to the same things. I guess what would you say is the best part about being a twin?
Mm, honestly, like I was just saying, just having you as a friend and somebody that can understand me, and just having somebody to be relatable to, and like I wouldn't know any better. Like I'm not really alone too much between being with like family or you or with friends. So I feel like just having that person that you can go to at any time and just kind of talk to them about whatever it is, whether it's important or funny or realistically anything, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, that's what I think is probably the coolest thing about being a twin. I mean, would you have to agree with that?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know how it is for girls per se, but I think because we're both guys, you and I get along really well. Like our fights are very minimal. I guess when we were younger, we used to like argue and get jealous, or not really in a big way, but over stupid things like I don't know, fighting over uh, video games or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, looking looking into the relationship we've had, it's kind of interesting because I think a lot of people will ask like, well, like what's the biggest difference between the two of you? And sometimes I find myself not really giving them a great answer because I think there is a lot of similarities. But in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest difference between you and me?
Boy. I mean, as much as we are the same, there's definitely that's a lot different. I think a lot of people that know us can attest to that. First of all, like physically, appearance, like I have long hair, you don't. That's just the current situation. Like some days, um, I might be like, I'm going to cut my hair off. Or like maybe you grow your hair out. We've done this for 20 years and it's changed here and there. But
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I've always been a little bit bigger than you. I mean, now you weigh a little bit more than me, which is crazy. It's never been that way. And
Yeah.
I've always been like an inch or two taller. But I mean, aside from like physical appearances, I feel like our personalities are like a little bit different.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe just like the way that you sometimes react to different things, or like um, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to
Mm.
really put a gauge on those things. I've never really thought about it. I guess like
Hmm.
what makes us different. Um,
Yeah. Who do you think's more attractive?
oh my god, I don't know if there's really a right answer because like,
I don't
but
know.
I mean, I feel like isn't that up for
We're
interpretation?
both ugly.
Yeah, definitely, no
Um,
doubt.
yeah, we're weird. But anyway, that's no, we're like 90% good looking. Like
Yeah, like
we're
pretty.
not models.
No, definitely not models, but we're all right. We do
Yeah,
okay.
I feel like that's a funny thing because it's a whole nother story. Like I feel like genetically, like some people are just so like the odds are stacked against them, and I feel horrible. Like I feel fortunate enough that we're young and healthy, and we were born premature, so we had like a couple of health issues. I guess we were a lot younger. We didn't know if we were gonna make it, but we're here. We made it, and
Yeah,
we're
somehow.
no, no, we're good. We're actually we're in good spirits, and we feel healthy. But what would you say is something that you wish you could do, um, and you probably feel like you can't do because I'm around all the time?
Mm, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's necessarily something that I would strive to do and can't do because you're in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do know this for a fact is that your reputation falls on mine in a lot of ways. And
Mm-hmm.
I think vice versa on that because if I were to do something, whether it's an out of pocket gesture or like even like something that's great, I think people will just associate our personalities together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, only in the only like in the small percentage of the people that really know us do they separate those things. So I think from an outsider's perspective, a lot of people associate the Iula twins kind of like together in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah. I remember one time when I was younger, and I don't know if this holds true because I think we're a lot different now, especially appearance wise. But I had a poll on like my Instagram when we were younger and we were in school,
Mm,
and I literally put it on. And I said like, "Can you tell the difference between like me and my brother, or however?"
mm.
And I just thought it was funny because I think like 50% of people just like were incorrect, and I don't know if it came down to the like they just don't know our names and they know our faces, or if it was like a biased group of people that are kind of just following us because they know both of us. But it's just funny because it's like in my head, I've always had like an insecurity every now and then. Like if I did something or embarrassing and in class or just something that made me stand out, or I dropped a pencil or whatever, right? I always thought about it like, do people know that like I'm me and like not you? Like, has anyone ever like how many times have you went into like the lunchroom or something like that and people have called you like a different name?
Oh, I mean, all the time. I feel like some people are like, hey, are you? I mean, sometimes they
Mike,
Nick.
yeah, and they're just like,
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like, if you don't know the difference, then we probably aren't really that close. So,
true.
I don't think it really matters, because the only time anyone would really talk to us if we're not close is just to ask a question or like say something nice or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know. I feel like that's really not that big of a deal, unless, of course, you've been a friend of ours for a long time and you still have trouble. Then I feel like it's on you.
What do you think's like the craziest thing we've done to confuse people?
Okay, well, I know there's one for sure that I can come to. In ninth grade, we had a science and social studies class. I think it was first period. You remember?
Yeah, it was early on in the day.
Yeah.
I remember doing this. It was funny. We pranked our teachers, and they barely knew us, so we felt bad. But it was a funny scenario for the people that were there.
Yeah. Some people obviously now we're ninth grade, so for the most part, everyone kind of knew who we were, and they thought it would be funny if we threw Nick in the back of my science class, and I'm pretty sure we had you raise your hand as me, and
No, I sat in your seat in the front row,
yeah,
and so the classrooms like are really funny. So like I think I was going to the bathroom in my social studies class, and it was funny because it's like I don't even think I told anybody in my like in my history class like where I was, right? And I ended up walking around the hallway, and I saw Mike through the window or whatever. And you might have been on a break because they had like that like double period set up or something like
yeah, in
that.
science that's how it was.
And we were walking around, and like kids like to like walk in the hallways and stuff in between like the bells. And I remember like coming in and sitting down, and someone, I don't even know who was in the class to be honest with you, but they were like, "Oh, just sit down. Like let's prank
Yeah.
your science teacher." So I sat in the front row, and whatever they were talking about, it was something probably early on.
Metamorphic and sedimentary rocks.
Yeah, it was earth science.
Yeah, I'm just making that up. It could be anything.
It could have been bio. Who knows? So we're sitting there, and he asked me a question, and he goes, "Yes, Michael," and everyone starts giggling, and like I remember him just looking around all confused, and I don't even think I had a question to ask, which was like the worst part about it. I wish I just said something like really like intelligent and made everybody laugh, but I just think it was an awkward moment more than it was like funny. And then it was really weird because I think you answered after I threw my hand up. I was like,
yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
my science teacher was literally like, wait a second, because he had no clue that I was a twin. I mean, the only people that knew, I think, were the ones that influenced the idea, whether that was like a couple days prior or just an on the spur of the moment type of thing.
Yeah,
but
that was funny.
It was a good time. I guess that was like one that definitely comes to mind, right?
Yeah, and I think it was a really weird situation because I remember like at the end of it, I didn't know if I didn't know the guy, like I didn't have him as a teacher, and like in some cases because we're in the same grade, like we'd share teachers for like the same subjects, but they'd be different periods in the day. But in this case, it was like I didn't even have his science teacher at the time, so I think he was really cool though because he thought it was a funny situation.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't that.
Then remember he took us out of his classroom and we walked around the hallway, and I walk into my social studies classroom and everyone just looked at me and they had no idea what was going on.
Oh, I know.
Because like the situation didn't happen, and
yeah, that's what he did. Remember, he brought both of us over to your social studies class and was like, I had no idea there was two of them. And
no, I know.
But I think your social studies teacher knew
She might, yeah, because we shared her as a teacher.
So she knew of us already.
And she was like, "Oh," she goes, "I thought Nick got lost." She said something really
Yeah, she
sarcastic.
had no idea where you went. So.
And I just sat down, and everyone kind of looked at me weird, and I'm sure they were like, "What's wrong with him?" But anyway, that was one of the funniest moments, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the only thing I could really think of as far as like what we've done to use our twin abilities to mess
Our
with
advantage.
Yeah, to our advantage.
Yeah, some people have asked us like, "Hey, have you ever like taken a test for him or done like no, it's illegal first of all to do some wild, forging."
Maybe.
I mean, we've done some. I remember. Oh my gosh, remember when we were younger? And this is kind of an off tangent story, but when we and this is 7th grade, so it's not that big of a deal now. And I think we talked it out, but one time I had like a written referral or something for fooling around in like a class of I don't even know what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a little slip that said like get this signed by your parent because you have like an after school detention. You need like whatever. And I'm not about. I feel like we were really good kids. Like I feel like a lot of teachers liked us. Like we had like great personalities and like
We were sweet, I guess.
yeah, we were funny. And I feel like sometimes the teachers had enough of us, and I would speak and just be loud. But anyway, we went into this class and I got a little write up, and it was sitting on my bed late at night because I had like my folder. I was doing homework upstairs, and then you
Oh yeah,
you
I
came
know
in the
exactly
room,
what happened.
and I literally was like, "Can you sign this Can you just like forge mom's signature, like please?"
Yeah, because my name, if you don't know, our mother's name's Michelle, and mine is obviously Michael. So the signatures, even though we were in 7th grade, looked more similar than what Nick could probably do if he was trying to forge it.
They go hand in hand, Michelle and Mike. Yeah, I mean they look really similar. Yeah.
And I remember I signed it, and because we don't think ahead, I left the sheet of paper.
We 90%ed this one.
Yeah, exactly. I left the sheet of paper on the ground, and I think our mom walked in and found the sheet of paper before we were able to even turn it in. And being the responsible parent that she was, she ended up telling Mrs. K.
Miss K.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
just if you know Mrs. K, you know Mrs. K. We'll leave it at that.
Oh my gosh.
7th grade, if you know, you know. And yeah, so she ended up telling her, and I remember I was in class like later in the week, and we were about to write a document-based question, right?
DBQ. Does anyone do DBQs?
Is a DBQ a thing anymore? I don't know.
I don't know if that's got to be Common Core. Is that like a nationwide
could be.
thing?
Well, regardless, we had to do it, and I just
Yeah.
remember like she was like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, no cheating. I've already caught some of our students cheating earlier in
Forging.
Yeah, like doing
She
something.
gave us the wink or something like that.
Yeah, like
It's
literally made it so clear, and I was just sitting there, and I was just like falling into my chair, like, oh, this is ridiculous.
funny.
So that was kind of one of those times where it backfired, right?
Yeah. You remember the time we were good students in the fields, like in the classes we liked. Like obviously, like gym was our biggest priority for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like it's every middle school boys' priority.
Probably. We liked just being athletic. Like we were so competitive for no reason. But we sucked at like sports. Like we were bad at basketball. We were good at anything that required speed. But then when it came to like coordination and like athleticism, it wasn't there.
Yeah, and
That's another story. But do you remember? You remember like our grades weren't the greatest, right? So it's like we're sitting in a meeting with like all of our teachers, and they're like, guys, like, what's the problem at home? And like, there was really no excuse for us to like not get our homework done, but we just were not getting it done. And I don't know if it came down to us just being like lazy.
I'm just prioritizing the wrong things.
Yeah,
realistically.
and maybe it just came down to that like independence of just not having like deadlines and teachers not harping it at that age. I mean, you're only 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so our mother had come in and she was really stressed at the time. And she was going through a lot anyway in her personal life. And she comes into class and she's not happy, right? So she's like, I don't know. She's sitting in the room with all the teachers and I don't even think we knew she was going to be there. I remember getting called down through the the intercom or whatever they use to
Oh yeah, I remember
transport students to a to like a room.
this.
And it
Mike
was,
and Nick Iula
oh
to
my god.
8th grade wing office or whatever the frick it was.
Yeah, who cares? But yeah, we went into this room and it felt like one of those like interrogation meetings, and like we saw all of our teachers, and it was funny because I've never seen all my teachers focused on us. Like I've seen my teachers independently, and they all thought I had different. We all had like different
It
personalities
was literally like a celebrity all-star game of teachers.
of teachers.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced like having teachers and then like you're used to going to a specific class at a specific time and seeing the same people. So like to have all of like the people you saw on a daily basis in one room kind of felt like an all-star game, even though it was an interrogation.
Yeah, it was a bad situation, but I mean the point being is like they were like, especially Mrs. K, she was like, sit down boys, and we were like, oh
Yeah, she was ready to just rat us out.
she was like, you guys are no good. And honestly, I think they all liked us and they knew we had good personalities, but whatever it took to, hand in homework, I think just threw our grades in the dump at the time, remember? And they were trying to warn us before the whole like quarter period was over so we can get our grades or whatever. And it was just funny because we're sitting down and they explained this whole situation about how we need to be better. And in most cases with the kids that they dealt with, and it's not to even put the blame on anybody, but or just target anyone if they were in this position as well. But we found ourselves in a weird position because most of the time kids are like pretty like they like to talk back and they don't want to listen, and they're angry that their parents are there and they're mad. But like you and I were on like a different level of comedic humor. Like
Yeah.
we didn't think it was like serious.
Yeah, we just never took like those things very seriously, and maybe it was like part of the rush of like being in trouble, but also knowing like our teachers have our backs in the long run, right?
Yeah, when we knew that we were good kids, it was just funny because we didn't care. But there's this guilt that kind of built up in the scenario because you start to feel bad for like, okay, like our mother's out of work to just figure this situation out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like that doesn't describe us as people, and we knew it. Like we weren't like deadbeat, like screw school. Like we enjoyed going to school. Like we never missed days.
Yeah. And we weren't like bullies or like we weren't like kids that
like
were like mean to other kids or like misbehaving so that you're disrupting the class. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
but, like,
maybe a little bit. Now that we look back, maybe we disrupted a lot by saying stupid things. But we always got laughs.
it was in like the good humor of the class to like lighten it up. And I mean, that's kind of was our problem, anyways. But,
Yeah, you were a little distracting. But anyway, by the end of the conversation, that guilt builds up, and you're just like, man, like, I can't believe these teachers are like, we're in this position. Like, we started to kind of have low self-esteem and feel bad about it.
yeah.
And then I remember our mother just being stressed because she had to be there. And I don't know if you were doing this comedically because I thought you were, but maybe you were genuine. Like, you went up to our mother and you hugged her and you kissed her and you said, I love you. And and like all the teachers were like shocked because like we said, like the kids in that position are like not happy their parents are there.
I remember mom came home and she's like, when you guys left that room, all your teachers said that was the cutest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah. And I think I followed. I went and was like, oh, I love you, and I gave her a hug.
Exactly.
And that's how we feel. It was just funny because like a part of me knew like
Right.
maybe we were like a little manipulators in that.
Like most of the time, if you're having a meeting with all your teachers, you probably did something really bad. And in our case, it was probably more like a guidance counselor, and our mom had a conversation, and we're like, you think there's any way we can get all the teachers in there to try to reprimand them and scare them? And I think it realistically excited us more than it scared us. So if mom, that was what your goal was, we're sorry it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't really work. Well,
maybe we shipped up for the year. But
yeah, we both we got a tutor in math. We were like not into math.
Yeah, well,
still we don't love math, but
Yeah.
I've grown to learn it. We had some great teachers in high school though.
yeah, it's kind of how it was in middle school.
Yeah, middle school was an interesting time period. I feel like that was such a weird situation because in like 6th grade we had a lot of close friends coming out of elementary school. By the time we got into like, sixth grade and they broke everybody up into thirds. They'd have like color coordinated of teachers. There's probably 3 sets of teachers per subject, right? And in our situation, they coded us like red or blue or green. It was like super odd, and like we would never get to meet like 2/3 of our grade for like no reason at all. And then when you'd go into like 7th grade, they'd switch up the teams, and you'd be on like a blue or green. And it was so random how they did it. I have no idea why or what the reason was. But like we were always on the red team, like straight through.
I know some kids got to like jump between, and like if you're in the greenhouse, you were in like some blue, some red.
Yeah.
Like for us, like we were just in the red the whole time.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was like.
Did they
we
do
were
it
dumb.
off of
Were
like
we
if you
like
were
dumb?
stupid?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like what they did was they just took like the smart kid. I don't know. It could have been all random. We have no idea. But I feel like
There were
green-
smart kids though.
wasn't
in
green. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to like be mean, but wasn't green like kind of tutored for kids that needed a little bit of extra
I have
help?
no idea.
Or like maybe they just made it random.
It was confusing though because our entire middle school locker bays were like color coded. So like if you were in like 6th grade, it was all like pink lockers, which was weird. And then like the 7th grade ones were all green, and then the 8th grade ones were blue. But like for what reason was there 3 teams per grade? So you'd be like on the red team in the red locker bays in 6th grade, and then we're in like the blue locker bays with.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so random.
They literally color coordinated each hallway that consisted of like the 6th grade red wing, the 7th grade green, and like the 8th grade blue. But then there was like teams within the grades that were within the hallway, right?
Yeah,
so like for
it was
example,
weird.
you could be like 6th grade red, 6th grade blue, or 6th grade green, but you'd still have your classes and your locker bay in the red 6th grade wing, because 6th grade was all red.
Yeah, but they were pink.
Why wouldn't they just like keep us? Why would they call us like teams like that? I feel like the only reason they did it was to like give us like an opportunity to like maybe match with like a third of our grade instead of having like randomized classes.
Yeah, maybe
You know,
it
like
would've been harder.
they kept the schedule like, okay, you're gonna be a specific teacher for a specific like color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like everybody may or may not within the 4. Some people are gonna have 3 classes with you. You know what I mean? Like you still start to see the same kids, and I think they did that so you can like have connections with kids that weren't in your elementary school. You know?
Yeah, it was odd because it's like by the time we got to high school, I felt like I knew no one because like we only knew a third of our grade, and then let's say we knew like half of our grade because when people would switch over teams or whatever, which was kind of. I don't know if it was rare or if it was kind of consistent. Like, I'm sure some people know, like, if they did. But, like, with us, it's like, I feel like I only knew half my grade in middle school, right? Like, I feel like nobody knew, like, you and I.
Right.
And, like, I guess also that's a funny thing because I feel like it's a nationwide problem. Like, I feel like there's so much insecurities with people and, like, bullying and, like, creating friends. And even to this day, I just feel like it's especially hard for like young kids to find a group of people to surround themselves with.
Yeah, well, I think that was the idea behind having the color coordinated
Yeah.
classes, right? That's kind of what I was
Yeah.
elaborating on.
I always felt like when they separated us though, like it made it like super hard to like it almost became like segregated because now
Oh.
there's a group of people that like all know each other, and like in their case maybe it worked out because they were all friends through middle school straight through like high school, and then for us it was like I don't know if there was just a miss with like whatever the red team was, but it just felt like some people didn't stay friends like when they jumped teams. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like it was just weird because I just think some kids kind of got screwed over in that aspect, or maybe they got teachers that sucked and their grades kind of fluctuated.
Yeah.
It's a luck. I feel like it's a luck of the draw, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the smartest way to go about things, but I think that's the point they were trying to make. I mean, I see what you're saying where you're saying, okay, well, if you're only going to segregate us into little portions, then we're going to get cliquey. And like you're saying, maybe we should have just all been able to have different schedules and not have like these little red, green, or blue groups. And maybe that would have made us like more open-minded and stuff.
Yeah,
It's a possibility, but I mean,
it's a funny
I
situation.
guess we'll never know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel like especially at a young age when you're what 10, 11, 12, how old are you? 12, in the middle,
I don't know.
right before those teenage years, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing because it's like on one section you have kids who are literally like toddlers, right? And then you have like those kids that have random growth spurts who are like 6 feet tall,
Yeah.
like 200 pounds, and it's odd because it's like you go to an activity. We had these activity nights where we had like bounce houses and stuff,
Yeah.
and like kids would be throwing each other around on these like I don't even know, but those were so lit, weren't they?
Yeah, activity nights were really cool. And then
Mm,
they used to have the Halloween things too, where they'd
hmm
have like
hmm
everyone dress up.
Good
And then
childhood stuff, you know.
yeah, it was kind of weird though because like in sixth grade, especially, like you're just getting to know like four other elementary schools, and then
Hmm
you're like showing up, and then you don't really know anybody, but you're dressed up in Halloween costumes, and then like the eighth graders were like ready for high school, so like
Yeah, they're like smoking weed, doing
yeah,
dumb stuff, and we're just
we're just like I left my teddy bear in the car.
yeah, like I for real.
Yeah. Like,
No,
like, mom, are you chaperoning? Because like, I don't know if I could do this.
yeah, I think we're nervous.
I
No,
mean, and not specifically me, but I know there was people that were just
I know.
in a different wavelength as far as like
Mm-hmm.
maturity and puberty and all that
Yeah,
good jazz.
yeah, that was always an interesting topic of mine. Is like it's like how vulgar and like how bad were kids' mouths like at that age.
Oh my god, I feel like I heard so many crazy things. I mean, maybe we heard them in elementary school, but when you go to middle school and you meet new kids, you get exposed to like all kinds of new slang, new terms, new ideologies. You start to like almost have like these weird things that you just overhear or like you
Hmm
run into and you're like, what was that, you
Yeah,
know?
what is that all about?
And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I loved like my time there, but at the same time, like that was a wild time.
Yeah, um, it's a weird age. I think it's one of the most like fundamentally important ages because I think it shapes you as like a person, and it's hard. And I know people like grow up and they get older, um, but anyway, it's interesting because I think a lot of those thoughts kind of stay in your mind as like a
Yeah, because
young
those are
kid.
like the beginning ages that shape you, right? I mean, that's when you're growing into like your teenage, young adult years, right? And I think that's the building blocks to who you're going to become. So,
Hmm Yeah, I guess just looking back, I wish I took school like kind of serious and like and you look back, it's like they kind of push everyone through, and you don't realize that,
yeah.
and you're just like, oh, okay, well then whatever. We had
Yeah.
a lot of fun. We've done some crazy things.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
get into more obviously as we go, but
yeah, and there's a lot of stories to talk about, but
yeah. So, I mean, I know, originally we were kind of talking about these twin things, and it's cool that we went down that middle school path, and there's going to be so many more middle school stories to tell, and we just we've had quite the time.
yeah. So that's probably gonna wrap up this episode. Um, if you want to follow us on our social media pages, we'll leave them in the link down below.
In the description.
The description down below. Um, and leave a like and then comment something funny or don't. And then,
Yeah, and if you're in the comment section and you can relate to any of the things that we talked about today, feel free to just share your story, or if you remember any of the stories we told and you're listening, feel free to
yeah,
just leave a comment. We'd love to read them, and share this with your grandma, your friends,
yeah,
um,
your uncle,
your your mother's best friends, whoever.
your dog.
Yeah, whatever you think, or whoever you think will enjoy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that has been the 90% podcast, episode 1. We'll be back for another episode real soon. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.